Innovation and technological development as China moves from being a low-cost manufacturer to a high-tech innovator.
Perhaps China is quite a significant example of where our staff and their families can operate with absolute safety. The safety services are excellent here, the security is excellent here. Hello, my name is Siddharth Chatterjee, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in China, and welcome to Delivering as One, a UN in China conversation. In this podcast, we highlight the heads of UN agencies in China who shape our diversity, discover their motivations, and find out about their work here on the ground. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Sherif Messiha, Regional Security Advisor for the United Nations Department of Safety and Security, UNDSS office in Beijing. Mr. Messiha is an Egyptian national, joined the UN in China in 2021. Sherif, welcome to Delivering as One.
Thank you, dear Sid.
So let's jump straight in. Tell us about your growing up, your studies, your career, your early life.
My name is Sherif Messiha. I am an Egyptian ex-police officer of Egypt. I was born in Cairo. My father was a police officer. I was very attached and very close to my father. I loved the security and the police work since I was a child. And all the questions, all what I was thinking in my life is to be a police officer. Why I want to be a police officer is to helping people. My father and my mother were always receiving people at home to help them, asking them to help in many other things. I saw the message that my father was doing in this life, and I found that this is a very big value to be a police officer and to help people. I graduated from the Police Academy of Egypt in 1994. It is a unique system in Egypt that we graduated with a Bachelor of Police and Law degree after 4 years. So the Police Academy in Egypt is 4 years. We graduate with law degree. So that's why when I left the police later and joined the United Nations, I can be a lawyer. This is one of the best things for the police officers in Egypt, is to study both law and police science. I started my career in the police in the SWAT team as a counter-terrorism during the 19th in Egypt. It was a difficult time. I'm so proud that during that time in Egypt, I was one of the police officers who worked with the central security as a SWAT team, special operations, to work in the counter-terrorism and the anti-narcotics. This field was very important at that time to protect Egypt and to protect people in Egypt from the terrorism and from those groups. Of course, was a fantastic and the best time I learned it in my life. We protected our country, we protected our people. People were living safe in Egypt during that time and after that. So I learned a lot. I was remembering all the time a question from my father when he told me, when I started my police academy, he told me, do you want to be a normal police officer or a different police officer? I said, what's different between normal and different police officer? And it was the same all the time. I take this with me all the time after that. He said, normal police officer, you will graduate, you will go to a police station, grow up in your career, grow up in your level from lieutenant, second lieutenant, captain, etc. But different police officer to study, do your master degrees, your languages. That's why they put me in a French school when I was a child. So I started to do this immediately after I graduated. I started to do my master degree. So I did master degree in police science.
Fantastic.
With a master degree in police science, I went to the Cairo University of Law, and I did my master degree in law. With both master degree, I start with my PhD in police, doing both sides. It was in the field of the protection of the important petroleum facilities. And this was my first attachment or understanding of China. Because during my thesis, I was always doing comparison studies. So I was putting China as one of the best police system. In terms of equipment, we had a very good cooperation with the Chinese government at that time. So this was my first interaction with China at that time. I was sent by my country with a peacekeeping in Haiti in 2004. And this was also my first experience with the United Nations that we were talking about it.
Interesting. So this really builds into the second question we have for you. So then how did you eventually then come to work in China then?
Yeah. I started my career with the United Nations, as I told you, as a police advisor in Haiti.
Seconded from the government?
Yeah, seconded from the government for 1 year. My post there was very high post. I was in Deputy Director of Operations. I started as a human rights officer, and then I moved to my normal police career in the operations at that time. So under my responsibility, it was 14 units. One of the units was the FPU. FPU is a Force Police Units. One of the Force Police Units and best Force Police Units was the Chinese peacekeeping team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were very professional, very organized, very well equipped. So we had a very good interaction. And the best thing that has happened, my predecessor was a Chinese police officer. So when I met him later by accident here in China after 17 years. Going back to this point, after I finished my tour of duty, I was recruited to work with the UN security in Haiti. And then I moved with my chief from Haiti to Chad. It was 2008.
2008.
Yeah, we start up the mission from scratch in Chad, Minorcat. And then 2009, I joined UNDSS in Yemen. So all was high-risk areas, Haiti, Chad, and then Yemen, where I have started up also our UNDSS office in the southern of Yemen from scratch for 3 years. It was a very difficult time in Yemen. We were dealing with 5 threats every day almost. It was a great experience in Yemen. And then I moved from Yemen to India spent there 3 years, responsible for the safety and security of the United Nations system in India and Bhutan. And from India, I went back to the Middle East in Algeria, where I spent there 5 years. And then from Algeria, in the management reassignment program, I found China coming up. So I applied for China. And I was honored and lucky to have this post with a regional post also covering 5 countries.
Fantastic. What a great story. So what does your organization do to support the people in China, the country's priorities, and the UN family at large?
Globally, UNDSS provides security services, advice, and support to the United Nations personnel, entities, and partners in order to ensure the safety and security of the personnel, as well as to facilitate their work and their program delivery in the field. We are enablers as UNDSS. So no security without program, and no program without security. Dear said, in China, UNDSS provides leadership, operational support, and oversight of the United Nations Security Management System in China. Ensure security for UN personnel and eligible family members. Enable and the safest and most efficient conduct of the program. Provide safety and security advice to the designated officer, which is you. You are playing here 2 roles, the resident coordinator and the designated official, and the security management team, who contained by the heads of agencies as well. We provide situational awarenesses. So actually, the post called security advisor. As a security or UNDSS, we are doing more than security advisory. We are doing analysis, situation awarenesses, risk mitigation alternatives, and advice to the designated official and security management team to enable a considered and appropriate security decision making, supporting the DO. The China UNDSS team is the oversee efficient and effective implementation of prevention and mitigation measures directed by the DO's decision. This is to enhance and enable the UN to deliver program in the country with safety and security of staff as a high priority in cooperation and coordination with the Chinese government. We provide an enabling service to the UN agencies, fund and programs to allow them to deliver their program where possible based on program criticality, with a clear understanding to a risk they face during their operations. And this is one of the important things that my team and I here doing, understanding the program of every agency, of all the 28 agencies working in China. Different programs, humanitarian development, economy, support, everything. We achieve these goals through an understanding of the program needs. So I have to read all the programs of our agencies. That said, UNDSS team studying also all programs of the 28 organization in China, the active analysis of the threat, assessing the risk, the identification and implementation of practical, flexible, and program enabling risk mitigation measures. The China UNDSS team will have routine security tasks, incident response tasks, and longer-term projects related to their specific areas of responsibility. This will ensure that safety and security available to staff is not only maintained at its current level, but improves the operating environment. This work of the China UNDSS team should avoid, whenever possible, additional administrative work for the agencies. So we tell the agencies, we tell our colleagues, you leave your safety and security on us, you do your program, you focus on your program that we know. Tell us what to do, what you are doing, so we will provide you safety and security to enabling you to deliver your program. The task is a very interesting task in China because China is safe. The government is providing extraordinary support to our programs in terms of safety and security. Significant change that we provided training and drills to all colleagues and leaded the duty of care team under your leadership and under your guidance, dear Sid.
Thank you, Sherif. And, I will attest to that. Perhaps China is quite a significant example of where our staff and their families can operate with absolute safety. The safety services are excellent here. The security is excellent here. And above all that, are working together on the duty of care team. And I want to take this opportunity to also commend you for your leadership of this important enterprise that really was looking after the staff during a very difficult period during the COVID outbreak.
Thank you very much, Sid.
So let's move forward. Could you provide some insight on the key beneficiaries of your organization in China?
The key beneficiaries of UNDSS in China are UN staff, contractors, and other personnel who are involved in the UN-related activities in the country. This includes UN employees working on humanitarian, development, and peace-building programs, as well as those engaged in research, advocacy, and other activities. By ensuring the safety and security of UN personnel, UNDSS helps to facilitate the effective implementation of UN programs and initiatives in China, ultimately contributing to the well-being and development of the communities they serve, taking into consideration the gender perspective and the gender part of that, supporting women's safety in the country. In details, all personnel and eligible family members in the UN Security Management System are main beneficiaries of UNDSS in China. UNSMS personnel includes the following persons employed by the UNSMS organization as staff members, persons engaged by the UNSMS organization to perform services on a non-staff contract, such as consultancy contract. This includes, but not limited to, military observers in general outside of China. Also, this is a general UNDSS. Military staff officers, military liaison officers, individual police officers, UN police officer, independent consultants, international individuals, contractors, etc. Persons engaged also as the United Nations volunteers under the UNDP or UNV program administered by UNDP, our interns, and our duty of care to our fellows. We have a very good interaction and relationship with the Diplomatic Security Forum, our counterparts with the Chinese government. We built a strong relationship in a very good cooperation during the Kunming COP17 last year. It was a fantastic opportunity to know more about the security and the police in China.
Great. All right. So identify some of the remaining development challenges faced by China in the coming years and how your organization as part of the UN in China will assist China in the achievement of the SDGs.
China has made great achievements in the past 40 years, as we all know. You cannot ignore this, and no one can ignore it. China still has great potential to develop faster and be much better. Honestly, since my arrival here, every time I travel somewhere in China, since 2 years, I find different things, constructions going everywhere. When I traveled, I found that new things all the time developing in China in terms of infrastructures, not only in Beijing, outside of Beijing, in different areas. So develop faster and much better. I think China faces several remaining development challenges in the coming years, including income inequality. Despite China's strong economic growth, there is still a significant gap between the rich and the poor, which could hinder its future development. And I can see a significant and big change in how the government is working and facing this challenge in China in terms of with the huge numbers of citizens in China. China's aging population presents challenges for the country's healthcare system and the economy as a whole. And we have seen how China has succeeded with all the measures during that COVID-19 situation and how they protected their people in terms of numbers talking all the time. When we see the numbers of the affected and the deaths in China, in compared to the number of the citizens, this is one of the less numbers in the world, and this is because of the measures and the healthcare in China.
An excellent public health response.
Excellent public health, of course. Yeah. Innovation and technological development as China moves from being a low-cost manufacturer to a high-tech innovator. It faces challenges in developing its own core technologies and fostering a culture of innovation. By ensuring the safety and security of UN personnel, UNDSS helps to facilitate the effective implementation of UN program and initiatives in China. As I mentioned before, dear said, we have to understand the programs, and through understanding a program of 28 organizations here in China, we were able to provide situational analysis in our security risk management program when we talk about political, economy, infrastructure, security forces, all of these things. So we have a global understanding of all of this to support you as a DO in China. Partnership with UNDSS as a trusted partner with the UN family, sharing a common purpose of providing assistance to those in need in China. Result orientation with security as an integral part of the UN programs and enabler of delivery. Effective leadership based on trust, vision, and humility, where you are always mentioning about humility during this year. Security risk management focused on dimensions, flexibility, and solutions orientations. Anticipation and scientific, a robust planning for greater resilience and preparedness and better response to emergencies.
Okay, so now tell us about yourself. What is your day like? What does your daily life look like here in Beijing, and how are you enjoying it?
I will not hide that I have inspired by you since my arrival with the breathing system and breathing exercises in the morning, and from your experience with your previous security career also. This was a very big add value for me that I would like to thank you here about it. Your trust and your respect to my team and myself, this has been a very great beginning in my career here in China. So thank you very much for your trust and your support. And enabling also me and DSS to be effective and important, playing roles here in the UN city. I usually go to office at 9 o'clock or before 9 o'clock in the morning and kickstart off a day with handmade Egyptian coffee in the morning. Excellent. With some colleagues and with my team in the office. So starting the day casual over coffee with the team, understanding and listening actively to my team, their concerns. My focus is on the well-being of my staff and my team. As I said, the big challenge for me here is that I'm covering 5 important countries: North Korea, South Korea, Mongolia, and Japan. So I have to be very well organized with that. I have a great team in China. So I attend the 5 UNCT, 5 SMT, doing the 5 job all the time. So without planning and organization of my day, I might lose all of these things. But then I read news and emails to evaluate the security situation and know what's going on, mostly in China, and if there's anything related to the other countries as a regional threat that we are facing from time to time, and provide security advisors to the UNSMS agencies in China. And my area of responsibility, particularly in meetings, to coordinate the security of the UN in China. During lunch, sometimes I go out with my colleagues from the agencies. As I said, we are enablers, so I have to be in touch with all agencies heads of agencies, colleagues, deputies, security focal points. With the large numbers of agencies also, I have a very good interaction with security focal points. So we don't have a security cell here, but under your leadership, also we build the security cell and the security focal points for every agency who are working very good. In the afternoon, I continue with work in hand to achieve the goals in the office. After a long day in the office, I go to the gym sometimes, and then I go home to enjoy my dinner with my family. My family have been with me here in China. I have my wife and 3 kids in the school. We sit together, we enjoy our dinner, our evening. Due to the time difference, sometimes I have some meetings after that with New York and etc. During the weekend, I'm trying to be with my kids, meeting our partners, meeting our colleagues. I was a basketball coach and player in Egypt. So I had a very good interaction with the Chinese citizens and Chinese friends here. It has made me more attached to the Chinese culture. Mm-hmm. They told me you can choose a group of foreigners and play with foreigners. I said, no, I will play with Chinese. I need to understand the culture, catch the language. And they were very welcoming, and the hospitality of the Chinese colleagues and Chinese friends are very high. So this has made me go out with them, playing with them, attending weddings, events outside of Beijing. This has made me more understanding of the great culture, Chinese culture here. So made a lot of friends.
Excellent.
Chinese friends. So this is my usual life in China.
Great. So tell us, what does delivering as one mean to you? This is one of the key clarion calls of the UN Secretary General, that the UN has to be fit for purpose. What does it mean to you, Sherif?
Delivering one in China, as I said, as DSS, we have to understand what all the agencies are doing. And maybe this is different at many other agencies. So you find the agencies who are working for development together in groups, and humanitarians in groups, but we have to be all over with this under your leadership as a DO, as an RC also. To me, delivering as one means working towards greater coordination and cooperation among UN agencies, funds and programs to ensure that their efforts and complementary reinforce each other. It implies a unified approach to problem solving with the goal of maximizing the impact and effectiveness of UN's efforts to address goals' challenges. Delivering as one approach aims to streamline UN operations and reduce duplication of efforts, ultimately leading to a more efficient and effective use of resources. By working together as a unified entity, the UN can leverage its collective expertise and resources to achieve greater results in areas such as peacekeeping, humanitarian aid, sustainable development, and human rights. Delivering as one also is carved in the fundamental framework of accountability of UNDSS. There was a boom fast targeting the UN in Iraq in 2003, as you know, causing the deaths of 15 UN staff and 7 others. Many other incidents, including UN staff taking hostages in many high-risk areas, hostage incident management program that has been developed by UNDSS. In a following investigation, lacking efficient security coordination mechanism was deemed as a reason for a failure to prevent mitigation measure. Hence, UNDSS was created and established in order to cope with the threat faced by the UN globally, together with security coordination mechanism among UN agencies funded programs such as the Interagency Security Management Network that has been established. So we are all one UN security under one umbrella, the High-Level Committee on Management, and the Chief Executive Board for Coordination. As a representative of UNDSS in China and Northeast Asia Pacific, I work collaboratively with SMTs, with the UNCT's members, to support the DO through appropriate security risk management. Efforts have been made to reduce these risks to acceptable level. Of course, in China, the level of security is very good and we don't face any issues. We feel safe with all the mitigation measures and the measures that has been established and in place by the government. We supported to enable the UN system in China during the most challenging time faced in China during the lockdown period. These measures has been taken in a manner to fit the purpose of the program needs and make the best use of resources in efficient way by making a safe and secure working environment under your leadership here in China as a DO with acceptable level of risk. UNDSS enables the program delivery of United Nations Security Management System, agencies fund and program. Sustainable development goals would be achieved with a joint effort. I think delivering as one is a very powerful tool to fulfill the UN mandate under your great leadership, dear Sid.
Great. So let's come to the last question. And what, in your view, would make an ideal UN resident coordinator?
As I said, we are inspiring by you and the way how you are coordinating with the government, how you are leading your team. So in my opinion, ideal RC mobilizes all the resources and then achieves the mandate of the UN in the country in a harmonized way. An ideal UN resident coordinator should be a visionary leader with a strong commitment to development and the ability to bring people together to achieve common goals. For example, here in China, you as resident coordinator of China, you have 28 organizations plus with 28 very high representative leaderships playing different roles and different programs. In summary, an ideal UN resident coordinator is someone who has strong leadership skills, a strategic vision, technical expertise, not only development, humanitarian, security, safety, cultural sensitivity, excellent communication skills, and the ability to adapt the new challenges. We are facing everyday challenges, different situations. Worlds are changing in different areas, climate change, political situation, wars around that has affected everywhere and everybody. So an ideal UN resident coordinator, RC, is someone who poses a combination of the following criteria and qualities. Leadership, the RC should have strong leadership skills. Diplomacy, the RC should have excellent diplomacy skills with the ability to negotiate and mediate effectively with a wide range of stakeholders, including government officials, civil societies, organizations, and private sector. This is a challenge. And the HQ as well, internally, externally, the government and the HQ. Bringing everyone together. This is a talent. Strategic thinking. The RC should have a clear understanding of the political, economy, and social context in which they are operating and be able to develop and implement strategic plans that are aligned with the UN broader goals and objectives. Should have strong strategic thinking skills with the ability to analyze complex situations, identify key challenges and opportunities, and develop effective strategies to address them. Communication. The RC should have excellent communication skills, active listeners, bringing senior managers together under one strategic vision with the ability to articulate complex ideas in a clear and concise manner and to engage with a wide range of audiences. Technical expertise, a strong understanding of the UN mandate, policies and program is essential for an effective UN resident coordinator. Culture sensitivity. We have seen many great RCs and we have seen some mistakes that has been made by RCs that has put the UN in trouble in many other countries. So should have strong culture sensitivities with the ability to understand and respect the culture context and the culture nuance in which they are working and to build relationships with people from diverse backgrounds. Team building, RC should have strong team building skills with the ability to create a positive and inclusive work environment and to foster collaboration and cooperation among team members. Adaptability. The UN operates in complex and rapidly changing environments, and an ideal UN resident coordinator must be able to adapt the new challenges and think creatively to find solutions.
Great. Thank you very much, Sherif. Thank you for sharing your story, sharing your time with us today. If you would like to learn more, visit un.china.org or follow the UN in China on our Twitter. Join us next time for another installment of Delivering as One, a UN in China conversation. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.